But anyway, I'm going to get in trouble before this day is out.
You're at the Bar of History with Dr. Ed Mazza.
Ladies' night and the feeling's right. Oh, what? Oh, I'm on the air. Sorry, folks. If you want to hear me sing, you will have to wait for my American Idol debut. Or you can sign up to take my church history class, which I will be, with the grace of God, offering this fall. Yes, Church History 101. Just put my silly bus together. And we hope to launch it in September. But we have about 50 people signed up for it. We need about another 100 to make this work. So please tell your friends and family about it. All you have to do is, if you're interested, go to edmundmazza.com. And under the post about this, just leave your name and contact info, your email, under the comments section. And I will be able to read that. And I will get in touch with you. And we're going to run for about 14 weeks. Tuition's going to be about $300. And it's going to be the best church history that you've ever had. And we are very happy to bring it to you, because if we don't learn from the history, we are doomed to repeat the mistakes. And we don't want to do that, right? So today's topic is about women, and who is really interested, when it comes down to it, in what women think and in what women are. Or do they just want their votes, or do they just want to use them to achieve their political goals, or really their goals for world domination? And a good example of this is an article from Crux magazine, which pretends to be a Catholic online journal. But we could talk more about that some other time. But I want to read to you briefly from an article entitled "Papal Envoy to Meet Women Who Applied to be Priests and Bishops." And it's, again, you can go to Crux, CRUX, now, NOW.com, and look this up. And you'll see these 7 women all smiling in a group picture, looking at the photographer, the Magnificent Seven. Or is it the 7 foolish virgins from the parable in the gospel? I'm not sure. But anyway, I'm going to get in trouble before this day is out. The article starts out this way. After 7 women in France last month applied for ecclesial jobs traditionally open only to men, including the priesthood, a representative of the Vatican's ambassador to the country has made a phone call to several of them, offering a sit-down meeting. Now, folks, do you realize how thrilling this is? If you want a sit-down meeting with the papal ambassador or with somebody high up in the Vatican, all you got to do is push for something that is totally against Catholic teaching. You didn't know that, did you? You see, because the funny thing is, 4 years ago now, 4 Catholic cardinals, real flesh and blood cardinals, Cardinal Burke, right? Cardinal Brandmuller. Who were the other Dubia brothers? Have you ever heard about that? Back in, I guess it was September of 2016, these 4 cardinals of the church wrote some questions to Pope Francis, to Bergoglio, asking for clarity with charity. And they still have not been answered. Can you imagine that? You've heard of the dubia, right? Dubia is Latin for question. And it's based off of Bergoglio's Amoris Laetitia. You know what I'm talking about, right? You've heard about this, right? This was back in September of 2016. Cardinal Brandmuller, Cardinal Burke, Cardinal Caffarra, and Cardinal Meisner. But you know what? They didn't get a phone call back. And it's 4 years later, and Bergoglio still hasn't answered them. 2 of them have died already, waiting for an answer. But you see, they wanted to affirm traditional Catholic teaching. You see, what they had to do was deny Catholic teaching. Oh, it meant they would get a phone call right away. And, well, anyway, I think you get the point. For example, one of the questions that they asked, it is asked whether, following the affirmations of Amoris Laetitia, it has now become possible to grant absolution in the sacrament of penance and thus admit to Holy Communion a person who, while bound by a valid marital bond, lives together with a different person in a marital way without fulfilling the conditions provided for by Familiaris Consortio. Well, anyway, let's get back to the article in Crux. And you know what? The interesting thing about this article in Crux is that it's by a correspondent, senior correspondent, Elise Ann Allen. And if I'm not mistaken, this reporter just married another reporter who works at the same place, John L. Allen. Again, I think I've got I don't want to put misinformation out there, but I'm pretty sure they both have the last name Allen. I think I've got this right. Now, I read, this is not detraction because it's already out there in the public. I read that this guy Allen left his wife to marry this reporter, Elise Ann Allen. I will double check that, but that is what I have been told. So, you know what? You can see where this is going here, right? Anyway, the calls from the Vatican ambassador apparently are unrelated to death threats one of the women applicants says that she received. On May 25th, a woman named Anne Supa sent the Vatican Embassy in Paris her application to be the next Archbishop of Lyon, a post which has been vacant since the resignation of Cardinal Philippe Barbarien in March, amid an ongoing legal battle to clear himself of allegations that he covered up sexual abuse. After Supa sent, if somebody could come back in a time machine from the 1930s and listen to these Catholic headlines, their head would explode. All this satanic craziness and nonsense and absurdity, right? After Supa sent in her request, several other women joined her cause, forming a coalition called Toute Apostasie, meaning all apostles. I think they misspelled that. It should be all apostates. Oh, goodness gracious. Which is dedicated to promoting equality in the church for all baptized, regardless of their gender, marital status, profession, or sexual orientation. On the July 22nd feast of St. Mary Magdalene, 7 other women who are part of the coalition presented their candidacy to the nunciature for ministries currently open only to men, including the diaconate, the priesthood, the episcopacy, the status as a Vatican nuncio, and as preachers. I wonder if the number 7 is significant here for the Feast of Mary Magdalene. Wasn't she exorcised of 7 demons? Wasn't she the one in the Bible that our Lord cast 7 demons out of her? Well, it's appropriate then that, well, anyway, I'm going to get in trouble. Each of the women included a cover letter, an explanation of the position they were applying for,